Welcome back. In this lecture, we are going to make all these pages functional and dynamic so that it could show you the real data from the backend. So let's begin. First of all, we need to make this component functional so that it could display the list of the posts by getting them from the backend. So let's do that. So for that, if you go to the app directory, core folder, and then we have the services folder. Within that we have all of the services that we will be using. So let's start from the post.service. So in this service we will start writing our functions that will be fetching the data from the backend. Okay, by the way, in the last lecture I enabled this line, so make sure to comment that out, otherwise it will replace your database every time you make any change. So to avoid any unexpected changes in your database, I recommend to keep it off. Okay, great. Now here we need few functions, but before that we will be creating the environment file that will be saving all of the environment variables that we will be using throughout our application. Okay, so if you are unsure that which command you want to use to generate a specific file or environment, then you can run this command ng generate -- help. It will give you all of the possible commands that has the ng generate in it. So press enter. With that it will give you all of the possible commands that you can use. So now here we would like to run this command to generate and configure the environment files for this project. So let's do that. I ran this command and it has generated two files. One is environment.ts and second one was the environment.development.t. So the production environment variables would go to the environment.ts and the environment variables that we will be using during the development would be stored in this file. So even this is for the production, but still whatever variables or data you will be saving here, that would be publicly available because Angular would be loaded in the browsers when they load your website, so they can easily access any data that you are exposing from the environment variable. So keep that in mind. Your data in the environments file is never secure, so never put any sensitive information in this, like you should not put any API key or password in this environment file. So if you need to save the password or API keys, then you should consider using the backend project to add the environment variables for those. But for the Angular project, you should never save your sensitive information in the environment.ts. Alright, now let's start from the environment.development. So first of all, I need to save the URL for our backend API. Okay, before that go to the backend project and let's see what is the URL that we want to use. So this is the URL for our development backend server. So go back to the front end and here add the name of that URL, that would be backend API URL. For now I will just add the same data in this as well, but later on when we will be deploying to the live server, we will replace this URL with the live URL. Okay, so when you are running locally, then this variable would be used every time you start the development server. Okay, great. Now here I am going to create another variable, base URL is equal to. So here now I will import the environment, and here don't specify the exact name of the file, you can just keep it like it, because in this way this will work for the both development and production. So if you are running it in development, then it will be accessing that development version of the environment file. Otherwise, if it is live, then it would automatically use the production environment file. Okay, now we want to access the backend API URL and we want to add the remaining part of the URL, that would be API/post. Save it. Just to double check, let's go back to our backend index.ts file and let's see, this is the correct base path. Now whenever we want to access the backend API for the post, I will just be using this variable. Okay, great. Now let's implement our basic function. First one would be the get post, that will fetch all of the posts from this base URL. We will be using the HTTP client, so let me fix this. First of all, we need to inject the HTTP client is equal to inject. Make sure to import the inject function from the Angular/core and pass it the HTTP client service. Import this HTTP client service as well. Now let's use this HTTP client and use the get method from it. We have passed the base URL and we are returning the response from it. So it will return the observable from this. Save it. Now let's start using it. In the public folder, in the features section, in the post folder, we have the post list. So go to the post list.component.ts. I'm going to remove this array and we will set the empty array by default. And now we will add a constructor here. So as soon as component is initialized, this constructor would be executed and we will hit the backend API through the post service. But before that, we have to inject the post service through the inject function. Okay, make sure to import the inject function and the post service from the correct path. Okay, now in the constructor, let's use the post service dot get post and call it and use the subscribe function. And within that, we will pass a callback function, and that callback function would be giving us the data from the response from the parameter. Now we will use that data to assign to the post variable that we created earlier here. Let's implement our post model interface as well so that we could use it to avoid these type errors. We will use the interfaces that we will be making now. So export an interface with the name post, and here we will add all of the possible fields that are coming. So let's look at our database and see what are the fields that we want to use. We want to use ID, title, content. Great. Then we have the slug. After that we have user ID, and then we have the category ID. By the way, this interface would not be 100% same as our database structure. This might be a bit different. So for example, we might have another field here with the name user that will have an object in it with all of the fields that we will be getting, like name, email, etc. So we will be adding that later. So after category, we have the created at and updated at. Save it. Now let's use it. Go to the post service, and here I will add generic type, and here I will use the post. Make sure to add the interface suffix to this name so that it would be easy for us to find while we are typing VS Code. So for example, if I type post interface, you can see this suggestion on the top. It is showing us this is the path, so that's mean it is the correct file that we want to import. As soon as you click on that, it will immediately import that file and you will be able to use it. And we know that this is going to be an array of this post. Okay, you can name it post interface or post model, whatever is better, up to you. You can change it. Or another convention is that instead of naming it post interface, you can call it I post. Okay, I means interface. So let's try to use this convention here. Let's replace it with the I post. Okay, great. Now here we can use the same interface I post of type array. Make sure to import the I post our post interface. Okay, now you will see there is not any error like before. So now we have the data. Go to the post list.component.html, and here we will be able to use the correct title. So instead of hard coding the title here, I will be using post dot. Now if I type dot, you will see the suggestion of all of the possible fields that are coming. So this is because of the interface. So that is the benefit. You don't have to type, you don't have to remember. It will help you to recall. So just click on the title, it will automatically add that field for you here. And now we have to add the author name and created date as well. Let's add the created date first. Here I will use post dot created at. Save it. Now I don't see any data yet. So let's see what's wrong. Go to the inspect element and look at the console. Okay, this is the error. It is saying that no provider for HTTP client. We must have to provide the HTTP client. For that, go to the root level of our app, that is app.config. So here in this providers array, I will add provide HTTP client. Now with that, this HTTP client would be available throughout our application and it should be working. So let's reload it and look at the inspect element. That now why it is not working. Okay, this time it is saying that is not allowed by access control allow origin. Okay, so we are facing a security issue from the backend project. We are using Express. By default, Express doesn't allow any random client to communicate with this backend. So we have to whitelist our localhost URL or whatever URL that we are using to hit the backend API, or we should just whitelist any URL, so it should allow any random client to access it. So that is not recommended. We should whitelist only specific domains that we are going to use to host our front-end project. But for now, we will disable that or allow all of the domains. For that, we have to go back to the backend. So here, first of all, we need to install another package. Go to the terminal, open a new terminal in the root directory of your backend project and run the command npm install cors, CORS. Okay, with that, it will install that dependency in our package.json. And now just use app.use and pass the CORS function call. Make sure to import it. We did not import it yet, so let's do that. Import cors from this. So now it is saying that could not find a declaration file for this. So as we are using TypeScript, we should install this types package. With that, this error will be gone. So copy this command, go to the terminal and paste it and wait. Once it is installed, you would notice that this error is gone. Great. Now let's move it on the top. Okay, now I hope that this issue should be fixed. Go back to the front end and reload it. Now I can see there is a different kind of error that it is saying could not connect to the server. Maybe we should reload it. Okay, this time I don't see any error yet. So go to the network and see what we got from the backend. I can see there is no data in the backend yet. Remember, I told you that I deleted the database, so now I don't have the data anymore. So let's quickly add some data in the post. But for that, we need to have a user, a category, and post. Okay, so now let's quickly insert a new user here. I will be using the HTTP localhost 3000. That is our current backend URL. And here we need the path for our auth endpoint. So let me double check really quick. So it is on the /API/auth. And here we need a register endpoint. And let's hit the send button just to see which parameters it require from us, and it need the post method, so let's use that. Okay, these are the all fields that we need to pass. So go to the body, use the raw JSON, and first field is the name test, and second field is the email, that would be test@gmail.com. And then we need the last field, that is the password. Let's register, click on the send button, but we still have the errors related to the password that is saying that string must contain at least 6 characters and must contain at least one uppercase letter, one lowercase letter, and one number. Great. Alright, it has been registered. Now let's go to the database, and from there I will directly make it activate, because currently the status of the user is pending. So I will change it to active. Let me see the possible values just to double check. Go to the structure, and if we look at the enum values, we have active and pending. So let's replace it with the active value. Save it. Now we have a user with the active status. So let's sign in just to double check if everything is still working. So here, instead of register, I will use the login and use the post method. Go to the body, and the raw, use the JSON, and here let's pass the username, email, no, so let's see, and password is same that we just created earlier, this one. Hit the send button. Okay, actually it is the field email, not the username. So hit the send button. Now it is signed in successfully without any issue. We got the access token and refresh token and the user. Great. Now we need to create a category. So let's copy this URL and paste it here. Instead of auth, I will use the category or categories. Check it is category or categories. So yes, it is categories. So let's use that. And as we want to insert a category, we will use the post method, and in the body I will again use the raw, and here let's pass title testing and hit the send button just to see what errors we get. First of all, it is saying that access denied, token is not provided. So let's provide the token. Go to the authorization, use the bearer token option, and here we have to pass the token. It will automatically add that token in the headers area. So let's get our token from here, access token, copy that and paste it here. Great, send it. Now it is not complaining about the token, but it is saying that we must have to pass the name instead of title. Okay, so let's try. Okay, the name has been used correctly in the slug field as well. Great, we have the category. Now we need to create a post, so let's duplicate this. So here, instead of the categories, we will use the word posts, and now hit the send button just to see what fields are required. We need title, content, and category ID. So here, let's use the title. This is a test post, and here I will pass the content field, and make sure the title is with small t. In the content, this is dummy content, and now we need to pass the category ID. Here I think it is category 1. Let me double check. Yes, the ID is 1, so let's use the same ID. Here, hit the send button. Okay, the post has been created. Now let's go back to the browser and reload it. This time you can see that a post is being shown because there is only one post. That's why it is visible, and you can see the actual title and actual date. We will fix the format of the date as well, and we have to fix the author name as well. So this is the author that is coming along with every post. So user is the creator of this post, so let's use that. Before using it, we have to create another interface for the user as well. So let's go to the core folder in the app. In the interceptors, go to the user model and export interface user. ID, number, name is string, and email is also a string, and status, let's add the status field. And as we know the exactly the number of statuses, so we will just type the literal values instead of specifying the generic string type. Here I will use the exactly same names that we want to use. First status is active and second one is pending. Okay, so in this way we will be able to use the correct statuses. It will give us the correct suggestions as well. For now, I'm not going to use the password. By the way, I see a serious security concern, that is that it is giving us the password for every author as well. So that is really risky. So let's fix it as well. We have to update our code in a way that it doesn't include the password in it. Other than that, all fields are correct so far. So first of all, let's use this user and fix the username here. Then we will move on to the security fix for the password. So let's close it and open the interface for the post model. So here we know that we have the user object as well, that is of type iUser. Make sure to import the iUser interface. Okay, so after adding the iUser, we will be getting the suggestions. Now go to the post list component HTML file, and here let's replace it and use the post dot. Here you will see that we have the suggestion user. If you click on that and use the dot, you will see all of the properties of the user object. So this is very convenient and easy to use. This is the main benefit of the interface in TypeScript. So let's use the name property here and let's check. You can see now it is showing us the correct name, that is test, and now we need to link it with the user page as well. By the way, we did not implement the user page yet, I guess. So in the features we should implement the users page as well, so that if we click on this, then it should display all of the pages that are related to that user. Okay, for now I will just leave it as it is. Now let's move on to the security fix in the backend. So go to the post routes and go to the get all post controller, so that we can trace back our function in the service that is responsible for this security loophole. So here we are including the user object. Okay, as we are using SQLize, there is a very nice and convenient way to exclude password. So instead of using user directly, here I will delete the user and pass an object, and here we will pass the property model and give it the user model. Now here I will pass the attributes property, and here I will pass an object that will have the exclude property, and we will pass the name of all of the fields that we want to exclude. For now I just want to exclude the password, so just do that, save it. Now for any request, you will notice that there will not be any password included. So let's reload it and check in the network, open it. You will see that password field is now removed, so that's great. All right, that was quick. Now let's open the post, but let's double check if we have included the post ID. Yes, post ID is properly linked with this title. Click on that, and in the URL you will notice that correct ID is used. Now we need to get or fetch that specific post and display on the post detail page. So go to the post service, and here we need to add another function, get post by ID. We will be getting the post ID from the parameter, and now I will return this .http client get, and here we will pass the I post interface. That's mean this will be returning us the post of this shape from the observable that we will be getting. And now in this way I am passing it the base URL, that is localhost 3000/API/post/. Let me double check if this is the correct format. So go back to the backend and go to the post route, and here I can see that currently we don't have any endpoint that will allow us to get a specific single post, so we have to implement that. So let's quickly do that. So here I have added another endpoint with, actually the better approach is that we should be using Slug, because remember we have added the Slug field in post table, so that is also very important for the SEO purpose. Okay, so we will use that, but before implementing that I see an issue that it did not add dashes to all of the spaces. It added the dash to the first space only. So let's see what is happening there. Go to the post method controller. This is the add post controller, and let's see what is happening here. So here we are generating the Slug, so we just have to fix this function and it would be fixed everywhere. So we are using the replace. To replace all, we have to use the regular expression. So let me replace the first parameter with a regular expression. We need to use these slashes and use the G flag, that means global, that will be responsible for replacing all of the spaces. So here we need to pass the space in this way. Alright, now it's time to test it. So I'm going to delete the post and we will insert it once again. So go to the post menu. We already have this form filled, so just hit the send button and let's see what happened. You can see this time it has added the dashes for all of the white spaces, so that's great. Okay, now let's get to the main point. The main point is that we have to implement a function or an endpoint that will take the Slug and will return the specific post. So here I have defined a route parameter with the name Slug, and we need to define a controller get post by Slug. So let's define that controller. So go to the post controller file, and here I will export function constant. We are using the constant approach here, so let's keep following that same approach. Okay, so now we need to get the post by Slug controller. First of all, we need to create a constant and extract the Slug from the parameters, and we also need to validate. So you can either use the schema or you can just keep it simple. So you can just check if Slug is not provided, then you can return an error invalid Slug. Okay, now we will get a post by Slug. So we already have that function created. We are getting the post by Slugs above, so I'm using the same function. It is already imported from the post service, so that's great. Now we will again check with the if condition. If post was not found, then we will return the status 404 with the message that post not found. But if the post was found, then we will simply return the JSON version of that post. Save it. Now let's import this new controller in the post routes. Now it is available. Okay, now let's go back to the front end project, and here instead of get post by ID, I will create a function get post by Slug. Slug should be string, and here I will use the path slash. By the way, here instead of using the Slug, I will add another keyword here like slug slash slug. So this will be actual Slug, and this would be the literal word Slug. Okay, go back to the front end project, and here I will use a slash slug slash. Now pass the actual Slug. Okay, all right, now go to the post detail page, post detail component. Here first of all we need to access the parameter from the URL. By the way, go back to the post routing. Here I will rename the route parameter name from ID to the Slug. Save it, because now we know that Slug is coming there. So here to access the Slug, we need to inject the activated route service. So name it route is equal to inject. Make sure to import the inject function from the Angular /core and pass it the activated route like this. And now we also need to inject the post service is equal to inject, pass the post service. Make sure to import the post service as well. Okay, now we need to create a variable post. We will keep it empty, and the type of this post is iPost. That is the interface that we created. We made it optional because we know that initially there would not be any value in it. It would be undefined, but we will initialize it by using the constructor. And here we will use this dot route dot params dot subscribe, and now we will be getting the params from that subscribe function callback. Now we will use this dot post service to get the post by slug. Pass the params slug. Okay, we are passing the slug to this function, and this will give us the observable that we will subscribe to now. And after subscribing to it, we will get the data from the backend that we will assign to the post property or variable. Now go back to the post detail component.html. Okay, now I will wrap everything from the public detail component in the if condition that render it only if post is truly or there is something in the post variable. Now we will get the title from the post.title save. Great. Now let me delete all of this dummy data and here access it using post.content save. Okay, currently nothing is working because we have the ID not slug in the URL. So go back to the home page and open the post list HTML page. Actually, we have to access this component in the public folder, post list HTML public. So in this way, if you type, you will be able to find the files very easily, quickly. You don't have to type the name or spellings correctly. You can just type the important keywords or characters from your file and path from the folders, and it will immediately help you to find. You can see it narrowed down the search result and gave us only 2 files, and now I can quickly see that I want this file. Open that, and here instead of adding ID, I will use the slug in this way. Now if you click on that and go to the URL, you will see that the slug is added in the URL, and this is a correct title coming from the database, and this is the correct content. Now we need to add the correct category and created date. Now in the post detail page or component, I will delete this hard coded date, and here instead I will use post dot created at, and we need to use the category. Let me double check if we have the category available in the response that we're getting from the backend. Reload it and let's observe this API request. If you open that, I can see there is no category included. There is a category ID but not the category itself. So for that we have to go back to the backend, go to the slug controller and go to this service function get post by slug, and here we can include the category by using the include property and pass it the category that we want to include. Save it, make sure to add the comma here. Okay, great. Now if you reload it, you will notice that category should be included here. Okay, so this is very quick and easy with the help of the Sequelize. Sequelize automatically added the joins for us that are efficient, and performance would also be good by using joins. So you can see it used the left outer join for the category. All right, now we know that we have the category. So in order to use that, first of all we need to create category interface. So in the category model.interface file, I will export an interface with the name I category, and here we have ID, name, slug, and created add and updated add. And now go to the post interface, and here we will include the category object as well. So we know that we just created the I category interface. We will just import it in this way. It will suggest us all possible fields from the category object as well. All right, now go back to the post detail dot component.html, and here you can simply remove this hard-coded category and here use the post dot category dot name. Okay, now we need to include the dynamic slug instead of hard-coded one. So for that use post dot category dot slug. Great. Okay, nice. Now let's close this inspect element, and you can see this category is correct, and if you click on the category, it will take you to the category detail page that will display the list of all of the posts that relate to this category. So before moving further, before implementing the category detail page. Let's complete this page. Here we need to display all of the tags. We need to display all of the comments. Currently we are displaying the hard-coded comments, so we have to fix that as well. Also, one of the important thing is that the date format should be good. It is not human friendly or readers friendly, so let's reformat it. There are several libraries out there that you can use. One of the good libraries that I know is the moment.js, so use the moment. Okay, on the Google search you will find it on the top. Open it, moment.js. You will find the complete documentation. You can take time to read it, but it is not compulsory for you to read this entire documentation. It's totally up to you. You can read it in your free time, because there are a lot of very useful ready-made functions that you can use. But for now we just have to install it, and then we have to use one single function ago. So I want to display in this format, like from now. So we just have to call the from now function and it will automatically convert it. So let's copy this command, go back to our project, go to the root directory of your project in the terminal and run this command. This will install the moment library in the package.json for you. Alright, now it's time to use it. Go to the post detail.ts file, and here I will create a property moment is equal to moment. We have to import the moment package here. Import all from moment. Okay, now it is saved here. Now go to the HTML and here remove this state and use moment dot actually call the moment, pass the date and pass from now function. I'm getting this error. It is saying that expression is not callable. The type of moment has no call signature. Maybe I just need to add the type any here for now, and let's test if that worked or not. No, that is not working. Let's go to the npm website to see the documentation, quick documentation on their website. So we already have installed it, and this is the documentation. It took me back to this page. Let's see how to use. So we have installed it. We have to import it. So this is the right way to import it, I guess. So let's go back here, and instead of using this approach, let me check. Okay, now the issue has been fixed. You can see it is now very easy to read it. It is saying that it was created 26 minutes ago. So if it is too old time, then it may show you the exact date and time for that creation date. But for now it is small time, so it is just showing you a go format. So this is very helpful. Alright, now it's time to get the list of the tags by the post ID. So let's go back to the backend just to see if we have any endpoint for that. So we have the post routes, we have the tag routes, and in the tag route we don't have any endpoint that gives us all of the tags that are related to this post. So let's quickly observe our database. We have the post tag table, and if you go to the structure, we have the go to the post tag, go to the structure, and we have the post ID and the tag ID to add relation between every post and tag. Okay, with this approach we can have multiple tags per post. Okay, before doing anything else, let's quickly insert some tags and then assign them to this specific post. Okay, so we can see that when we insert a post, there is an option where we can pass the tag IDs as well. And if we look at the update post controller, at that time we cannot pass the tag IDs. So we should update the update function as well, so that we could have opportunity to add the tags if we did not add during the creation of that post. So let's do that. First of all, let's insert some tags. I'm going to duplicate this tab, and here instead of the posts I will use the tags word, and in the body let me remove all of these. And here I guess we need a name field, and here let's add tag 1 send. Okay, the tag was created. Now let's create few more tags, 2, 3, 4. Now we need to add relation between these two tags. So let's implement the update post controller so that we could pass the tag IDs as. So let's look at the add post controller, and we will try to use the same approach that we have in that function. So I have copied the line that is responsible for the validation, and here let's paste it. Okay, by the way, we also have to replace these hard-coded values as well wherever we have added them. When we will do that, when we will complete the authentication feature in the front end. We will replace these. Okay, we have added the tag IDs. Now I will copy paste this same these lines of code. So what is happening here? It is checking if there are IDs, and if length is greater than 0, then it will check all the tags if these are valid or not by getting the tags one by one from the database. So for example, got all of the tags by using those IDs. If the length is not same, then that's mean if either all of those tag IDs or one of those tag IDs are not valid, maybe one of those IDs were deleted from database. So we will simply throw the error. So we can refactor these lines of code. So let's move it into a separate function. So we will refactor above code to use a function with name validate tag. Okay, I am also getting some help from the GitHub Copilot to get the suggestions for the names, so that is very nice. So if you also want to use the GitHub Copilot for yourself, I highly recommend it. It really worth to pay them. I guess the price is $10. It's totally up to you. So if you want to get maximum benefit of the AI as well, you should consider using the GitHub Copilot. I am already using it for a long time and it is very helpful for me. Anyways, let's use this function name. Actually, I will for now create it here. I will move it outside later. Now let's move all of this code into this function. And here I will define a parameter with the name tag IDs with the type number array. Now let's call this function. Okay, and here as this tag IDs is optional, so that's why we are getting error. Here we have defined that it is compulsory, so we have to add question mark here to make it optional. So now we have to add the await here as well, because this will return a promise because we are using await here. Also this should be async function because we are using await inside of this function. Now let's move this function outside of this main function and now we can reuse it. By the way, we should have passed the response property as well because we are using it here. So let's pass the response because we want to call the status function as well. By the way, this should not be optional, that's why it was throwing error. I have removed the question mark from here. It is saying that a required parameter cannot follow an optional parameter. That's mean optional parameters should always be after the required parameter. So let's make the first parameter as the required parameter and let's fix the arrangement here as well. Response and tag ID. Okay, great. Now everything is great. We have refactored our code. Now I will reuse this line of code in the update function as well. Okay, here first of all we need to extract the tag IDs as well. And now let's validate here to check if all tags are valid. And we have to pass the response as well. System spellings are RESP. Okay, great. Now if all tags are valid, then we should pass those tag IDs to the object where we are updating the post. So we are updating it here. So as tag IDs would be added in a separate table, so we would not pass them here in this function, but we will use a separate code for that. So if you go to the create section where we are creating the post, here after creating that post we got the post and post ID, and then we inserted all of the tags with one single line. So I will just copy paste this line and add it in the update post as well. So there is another important thing, we should not duplicate the insertions. So we should insert only those tag IDs that are not already attached with this post. So we have to exclude the tag IDs that are already there in the database with this post, or in other words, we should keep only those tag IDs that are new for this post. So for that, first of all, we need to get all of the entries. So let me check if we have the service post tag. Yes, we have the post tag service, and within that we have only one function. So in this file post tag service, we can create a new function and export it. Export constant get post tags async, and we are receiving the post ID from the parameter. So based on this post ID, we will get all of the post tag relationships. So I'm using the where condition where post ID is equal to the post ID that is coming from the parameter. Okay, once that is done, let's copy the name of this function, and here before adding tags to this post, we will get their relationships. First of all, let me create a constant post tag relations is equal to await get post tags, and here I have passed the post ID that will give me all of the relations. Now we can filter out the tag IDs that are already inside this array. Okay, now tag IDs is equal to tag IDs dot filter. By the way, we should move this piece of code inside this if condition, because if there is no tag ID or length is 0, then it will fail. So that's why it is better to keep it in this condition. We're getting this error because tag IDs is a constant. We have to convert it to the simple variable. Let me use let here for now. Okay, so now here we will be getting the tag ID. So here I will get the post tag is equal to post tag relations dot find function. So within this find function I will pass the callback function, and within that callback function we will be getting the post tag relation for every iteration in this loop, and then we will return the result of this comparison, that if post tag relation dot tag ID is equal to this tag ID, then that's mean this is the matched or found post tag. Now we will check if post tag was not found against this tag ID, then we will return the true value. So we are using not operator here. That's mean if post tag was found, that is true, but if we add exclamatory sign here or not operator, then that will inverse it. So that's mean if it was true, then it will become false, and if it is false, then that's mean filter function will not consider that specific tag ID, and it will filter that tag ID out, and we will have only those tag IDs remaining that are new for this post. Okay, now we can again add the if condition. If tag IDs dot length is greater than 0, then we will use this statement, then we will add the post tags. Otherwise we will not call this function add post tags. Okay, great. Now let's go to the postman, and from there we will try to update this specific post that we already have. So instead of tags I will add posts, and in the body we need to pass the ID of the post, that is 1, I guess. Okay, now I will pass all of the tag IDs that we have created so far. 1 2 3 4, these are the IDs. Let me actually show you as well. If you go to the tags table, and here you can see these are all of the tag IDs. Okay, great. Now hit the send button. Okay, it is saying that invalid token. So in the authorization we already have token, but I guess that is expired already. So let's sign in again. That will give me the latest access token. Copy that, and let me replace this access token with the new one, and now you can hit the submit button, and this time I have different error. It is actually, it was trying to insert the post we wanted to update, so use the patch method instead. Okay, let me see if there is a patch method or not. So go to the post routes, and here we have the put method, not the patch. So let me actually use the put method, hit the send button. Now I have a different error that is saying that title is required, but we are trying to update at the time of update. It is not compulsory that you are trying to update a title. Maybe you are not updating the title, so we can make these optional. Similarly, I will make the content optional as well, and category as well optional. Okay, great. Now we have to handle this optional situation. So because if category was not provided, then we will not check the category. Okay, so here I will wrap everything in this if condition. So if category ID was provided, then we will run all of this logic within that if condition. Okay, now we need to handle the optional case for the title as well. So here I can check if title was provided, then check this condition, and if both of these conditions are true, then it will generate the title slug. Now let's go to the update post and make the title optional and content optional as well, and category as well. Okay, now go to the update post function, and here I will make all of these fields optional, or all of these parameters optional. Okay, great. Now here we already have this if condition. If title was provided, then it will update it, and same for all of the other fields. So that's mean it is fine. It is already handling the optional case in the service. Save it. Other than that, I think everything is fine. Now we just want to update the tag IDs. So we have provided the ID that is compulsory and tag IDs. So let's try it. Hit the send button. It is saying that invalid post ID. Let me check in the database. Maybe the post ID was 2. Yes, the ID was 2. So let's fix the ID. Hit the send button. Okay, this time it was updated. Nothing was changed. You can see all of the information like title, content, slug is still same, but the difference is that it should insert the relations for the post and tag bit in this table. You can see all of the 4 entries have been made in this table. So that is what we wanted. Okay, now we have the relations inserted. We can use these relations to fetch and display the tags in the post detail page. Now in the tag routes section, we can add another endpoint, router dot get slash get post tag relations, and we will be passing the ID in the parameter, in the route parameter, like this, post ID, and the controller name can be get post tags controller. Now let's define that controller in the tag controller, because currently we don't have the post tag controller yet, so we will just add it here. Export const get post tags controller is equal to async this function. First of all, we will get const post id is equal to request params dot post id. We got the post id. Now we will check if post id was not provided, then we will terminate the process by returning the 400 status and the message post id is required. And here I will now get the post first, just to make sure if post still exists. So post id should be valid. For that, const post is equal to await get post by id. Make sure to import the function get post id from this file post service, and here I will pass the post id in this way. By the way, post id was a number that is the type of this parameter. That's why we have to convert it into the integer. So you can just use parse int function here, and it will convert the string into the integer. After that, we will check if post was not found, then we will return 404 status with the message post not found. But if post was found, then we will get all of the post tag relations. Const post tags is equal to, here I will use await function, await keyword, then get post tags. So this function is available in the post tag service that we just created, and here we have to pass the post id, or we have to parse it every time. So instead of marking it constant, I can just call it a let variable, and here we can replace it post id is equal to with the parseInt post id. In this way we will not have to convert it every time. And here for now I will add type any. Okay, so now we can remove this parseInt in all of these places and this round bracket as well. Alright, now we have all of the post tags. We can simply return the JSON to the response of this HTTP request along with the post tags that we got. But we must have to include all of the tags information, because as you know, this is returning the relations, not the actual tags. So we have to include, but we know that this tag has the foreign key relation with the tags table, so we can simply use the include property here, pass the array, and within that array I will pass the tag model. Make sure to import the tag model. As you can see, I have imported that. Now it will automatically include the tag object in every relation. So just to double check, we will test it in the postman, but before that let's import the get post tags controller here. And now let me copy this, and here in the postman I will duplicate this, and here we are passing get post tag relations. Here I need to pass the post id, that is 2, and the method should be get. Okay, now hit the send button. Alright, I got an error. It is returning the 404 error. So actually this is the tags path, not the post path. Now I got another error that is saying something went wrong. So let's check in the inspect element in the terminal. Here it is saying that tag is not associated to the post tag. So let's see what's going on. In the post tag, we did not added the relations. Now we will need to add the associations. So as this is one-to-one relation, so only one post ID is linked to one post. So here I will use belongs to, and we will return the post model, and here we will define a property post of type post. Similarly for the tag we'll do the same. It belongs to the tag model and it will return the tag model. Okay, now let's try it again. It is still taking time to start the server. Okay, now it worked. You can see after adding the association, it has included the tag object for every entry. So now we can use it in the post detail page. So let's do that. So in the post detail component, I will create another variable, but before that we have to go to the interface post tag. So we have the tag model interface file, but we don't have the post tag model interface. So let's do that. Post tag model.interface.ts, and here I will export interface post tag model and make sure to put the I character before the name to mark it as an interface. And now we have the post ID and tag ID. That's it. Also we know that we have the post object on it, and we have to import the iPost model interface. So actually we should not add any model because we are not doing that in other interfaces. So now let me remove the model from here, and if you click on that, VS Code will show you suggestion that you can auto import it. So it has added the import statement, and we have the post interface available. Now we have to create an interface for the tag as well. So export interface I tag and ID name slug. Let me double check. Go to the database. Okay, we have ID name slug and user ID. Okay, ID name slug and user ID of type string or maybe number. Okay, now go back to the post tag model interface, and here I will add tag property with type I tag model. Make sure to import the I tag interface from this file. Okay, now we are ready to use this interface. Close this file and this as well, and here I will add post tags, and the type would be iPost tag. Make sure to import this interface like this, and this will contain an array. So let's give it a default empty array. So now go to the post detail component.html and find the tags. So these are the tags. Currently these are hard coded ones. So now I will use post tags, and this is also post tags, and here I can use tag.name because we know that this is an object. Within that object there is a tag property that is further an object. Okay, you can just rename it like post tag. Okay, now it's fine. Post tag.name. Now this makes more sense. And here I will use post tag.slug, and I think that's it for this section. Now we need to load the tags. Okay, so for that we already have the tag service, so I think we can keep using this service, and we will add the base URL. Let me actually copy paste the same code that is going to be used, as things would be mostly same. So these two lines would stay same in all of the services. Make sure to import the environment from this file, and make sure to import the inject function and import the HTTP client as well. Also we need to create a function get post tags, and here we will be getting the ID of type number, and here we will return this .http client.get this base URL. So here I will actually, before doing that, let's fix this path. This should be API/tags. After tags we need slash. Let me actually go to the backend project, go to the tag routes section, and this is the endpoint that we need to use. So let's add it here, and we need to pass the post ID after this like this. Okay, now let me add the generic type here. So to define the data type that will be coming with the observable, the data type would be I post tag array. Okay, great. Now you can close it, and in the post detail component I need to inject the tags service as well. So tags service is equal to inject post tag service like this. So within the subscribe function we will call another function from this new service, tag service dot get post tags. Actually let's move this code inside this subscribe function because we are depending on the post ID instead of the slug. So now we have the post ID at this stage because we already got the post from the data. Now by using that post, I'm getting the ID and passing it to the get post tags function. That will then give us the data from the callback function. Now I have assigned the data to the post tags variable that we created earlier. Now save it, and now let's close this function. Great. Now let's check, go to the browser, and you can see these tags are now real. So if you go to the database and make a change to any of these tags, for example, here I can make it hello world, save it, and now let's reload it. Now you can see this tag is coming from the database. Alright, now let's make these comments list functional. Currently it is hard coded. So go to the backend project, and there you will find we already have created endpoints earlier. So as we want to create a comment, so if you go to the index.ts, here we have the API/comments endpoint, and this is protected endpoint, means there is a middleware that will protect all of these three endpoints. Okay, so keep that in your mind. Now let's create a comment. I'm going to duplicate this tab, and here let's use the post method, and here I will use the comments as the path, and in the body let's remove everything for now and see if we get any error. Okay, it is showing us these odd errors. First one is the post ID is required, where we are creating the comment, and also the content is also required. So let's add that. Content would be equal to the hello world, and the post ID would be equal to the 2. Okay, let's try to create that. We already have added the token here, so that's mean when we will insert, it will use the user ID from this token. Okay, now hit the send button, and the comment has been created. Okay, now we need to get the list of the comments against a specific post ID. So this is the endpoint that we are going to use. Go to the front end project, and in the post detail component I will create another variable comments, and the type of the comment would be the I comment. We did not create that interface yet, so let's do that as well. In the interfaces section we have the comment model, so let's define an interface. Export interface I comment, and ID, post ID, name, no, we need content. Let me remove all these. Content of type string, and we also need a user ID. We also need the user object of type I user. Now let's use this interface here. The comments will have an array of type I user, of type I comment, and give it the default empty array. Let's refactor this code. So I'm going to create separate functions. So this piece of code would go in another function, that would be this dot load post, and here let's define that function load post. Let me remove this generated code and paste this one. Okay, now we need the slug, so let's receive the slug from the parameter, and here you can pass it in this way. After that, let's add the type of string here, and now I can move this piece of code in a separate function, that is basically this dot load tags, and I'm going to define that function here, load tags, and paste the code that we copied earlier. And now here we can check if this dot post is truthy, then it will execute this line, otherwise it will not execute this line of code. Okay, so I think that's it. After that we need to create another function, that would be load comments, and here I will check if this dot post is truthy, then this dot post. Actually we need another service, that would be comments service. So here I will define a property comment service, or comment service. Let's keep using comment service singular is equal to inject comment service. Comment service is already created. Let's go to there, and I'm going to copy paste the base code that we need every time. We need these two lines in every service. So I'm going to copy that, go to the comment service again, paste it, and here instead of tags we need comments. Make sure import the environments object and inject function from the angular/core, and import the HTTP client from the angular/common/HTTP. Okay, with that we are ready to get the comments by the post ID. So I have created a function get comments that is expecting a parameter post ID of type string, and it will return the response of the get HTTP call to this endpoint. We are passing the post ID. Okay, now go back to the post detail component, and here let's complete this. Here we will type this comment service dot get comments and pass it the post ID that we already have. Here the post ID should be of type number, and now we have subscribed to it, and within that subscribe function we will assign this data to the comments variable. By the way, in the get comments function we did not define the generic type here, so let's pass the I comment of type array. So in this way this error will be gone, because it knows that what kind of data is coming, and that data type is matching with the data type of the comments variable. That's why it is not complaining about the type mismatch. Alright, now we need to call the load comments function. That should be called here, this dot load comments. Okay, because we need to call in this callback function, because it can call the comments only if we have the post ID, and post ID would be available once we get the post by using the slug. So that's the reason. Okay, now go back to the browser and let's reload it. Okay, currently we did not use this comments array yet, so go to the HTML, and here I'm going to replace this with actual comments variable, and this is also a comment, and here we should track by comment.id. That is better actually. Similarly, here we have used the loop for the tags somewhere here, so here we should track by the post tag dot tag ID, I guess. Okay, now everything looks good so far. Now we can get the data from the comment object and use it here. So here we can use comment dot user dot name, and here we need to display comment dot content. Okay, that's good. Now for now I will just print the date time as it is, but later we will format it with the moment.js. So comment dot created at, save it. Okay, now a single comment is displayed, but I don't see any data. So the reason is that I guess user was not included. So go to the inspect element, go to the network, reload it, and you will see here we are getting the comments, and in this comment user ID is there, but user was not included. So go back to the backend and trace back this controller function, and here we are getting the post comments. Open that, and here we need to include the user. So just add include property with the value array, and within that array we will include user model. Okay, just I want to double check if we have added the association in the comment model or not. So yes, we have added the belongs to association with the user model, so that will definitely work. Close that now, and now if you reload it, here you can see the entire user is included, but again we are doing a blunder here. We should never pass the password of that included user, so always make sure to remove that. There may be a bit better way to exclude that one global area, and it would never be included, but for now, for the sake of the simplicity, we will just exclude it here. Here I will add model user, and attributes should exclude password. Okay, great. Now let's reload it, and actually reload again because server was not started yet. Now here you can see that password was not there. Okay, now everything is correctly visible in the comments section. We have the username, we have the created date, and we have the comment. Now it's time to use the moment. So go back to the front end, and here replace it with the moment in the same way like we did earlier. From now, save it. Okay, now you can see it is saying that this comment was published 11 minutes ago. Okay, great. Now let's complete this comments form as well. We will implement the comments form after we have implemented the authentication. So once user is signed in, we will save the session along with token and all of the information in our local storage, and then at that time we will be able to get the user ID who is creating that comment, because we need that while saving that comment in the database. Okay, so we will implement that later. For now, let's quickly implement the category page and the tag page.